The United Society of Believers in Christ's Second Appearing got the more well-known name, the Shakers, because of their dancing worship. For our presentation, Lesley will talk about the women, called the sisters, and I will talk about the men, called the brothers, in keeping with the Shaker ideal of gender equality and separation.
This is a studio photo of Sister Alice Smith, who had her portrait taken by a prominent North Street photographer, B.F. Ogden, here in Pittsfield. She's remembered today as the sister who shared the Shakers' famous gift drawings with Faith and Edward Andrews, who were the first Shaker scholars and collectors.
This is Brother Ira Lawson, who was a prime player in a Shaker scandal. Although the Shakers lived communally and took a vow of celibacy, in 1871, Ira and a young sister named Eliza ran away in the middle of the night, got married in Albany, and then repented and returned to Hancock the next day.
This is Sister Elizabeth Belden, who was a much-loved Shaker teacher. She taught at the Hancock Schoolhouse, which was part of the local public school system. Both Shaker children and their non-Shaker neighbors attended these schools together and were instructed by Shaker teachers. The Hancock School finally closed in the 1930s.
Brother Ricardo Belden came to the Enfield, Connecticut Shakers as a 4-year-old orphan. He remained a Shaker for most of his life. A colorful character, he twice left the community and returned, once of his own accord and once after having been excommunicated. He died at Hancock in 1958, the last Shaker brother there.
This is Eldris Fanny Estabrook, the last Hancock eldris or leader who passed away in 1960. Just as negotiations got underway to sell the Hancock property due to the Shakers' declining population. Luckily, a local group of like-minded preservationists came together to purchase the village and turn it into a museum.
Here's Brother Ricardo again at the wheel of one of the village's fleet of automobiles, a Nash. The Shakers used their cars for business and for leisure, and in the back seat you can also see Sister Elizabeth Belden again. Interestingly, although Ricardo and Elizabeth had the same last name, they were not related.
This is Eldris Sophia Helfrich, a prominent cloak maker who lived at Hancock's second family. Shakers divided their spiritual community into smaller groups called families. Hancock consisted of 6 of these families. The main museum campus today was called the Church Family. The second family was located about a mile east along Route 20.
This is Brother Calvin Fairchild at age 2. Abandoned on the Shakers' doorstep as a baby, they took him in. A much-beloved elder named Calvin had just died, and so the Shakers named this new baby Calvin. And since he was such a beautiful baby, they gave him the last name Fairchild. Sadly, he died of tuberculosis at age 27.
This is Sister Anna Delcheff in 1927. Hired men were working the fields at Hancock by this time due to the depleted population of brothers at the village. According to oral histories of former Shakers, since Anna was not afraid of the large horses, she posed for this picture with them in the cornfield.
Elder Joseph Holden came to the Shakers at age 3 with his mother. He stayed a true Shaker his whole life, unlike most Shaker children. He died in 1919 at age 83. According to his obituary in the Berkshire Evening Eagle, death was due to a general breaking up that comes with advancing years.
Young Clara Spurl was the last girl raised at Hancock. Eldris Fanny Estabrook was her devoted caretaker, a surrogate mother figure. Clara came to the Shakers at age 8 in 1925 and left at age 19. In 2007, she was buried in the Hancock Cemetery at her request.
These brothers are posing for the camera while milking Hancock's prize dairy herd in front of the famous Roundstone Barn. Dairy farming and its related industries, processing and sale of milk, butter, cheese, leather, and meat, were Hancock's largest and most lucrative businesses up through the mid-20th century.
Sister Anna Delcheff, seen here again, is modeling a Shaker-made cloak in this marketing image. Cloaks were a lucrative industry for the sisters, and the style became popular with 19th century women. President Grover Cleveland's wife even wore a gray Shaker cloak to his second inauguration in 1893.
Richo Petif came to the Shakers as a refugee from the Bulgarian civil wars. His first name was pronounced differently over the years, Richo and Rycho. He also changed his last name from Petif to Petit, thinking it sounded less Eastern European.
Jenny Petif, Richo's daughter, is seen here caring for Hancock's poultry flock in 1925. Her dress is common for the early 20th century worldly or non-Shaker woman. She is no longer in traditional Shaker costume. Many Shakers at this time were modernizing their spiritual and temporal way of life.
Alexander Petif, Richo's son, is seen here in Hancock's 1918 Rio. His being seated behind the wheel foreshadows his eventual departure from Shaker life. An entry in a 1921 Hancock journal notes, Alexander Petif severs his connections with the society, claiming to have gone to auto show.
Young Anita Potter is seen here holding one of Hancock community's pet cats. Its name was Theodore Roosevelt Chickenhouse. It's true. He was given the last name because he was expected to catch mice in the poultry house. Shaker rules originally prohibited pets, but as with many aspects of their lives, these rules were loosely interpreted in the 20th century.
This group photo from the 1870s shows the Hancock church family posing on the steps of their brick dwelling. This is one of the last photos in which we can see the diversity of Shaker population, with a range of young to old and a near balance of brethren and sisters.
This wonderful snapshot taken in 1922 shows many Hancock Shakers enjoying a picnic. Like many Americans, the Shakers found more time for leisure activities in the 20th century, including day trips to local landmarks, outings, photography, and picnics such as this. Thank you.
Thank you.